And I can be a buyer and believer into Steve Nash, the guy, and think he didn't get a fair shot and think what blah, 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 blah. But, like, I watched the Nets play not every one of their games, but I think 4 of their games so far this year. And then I watched last night, and it wasn't anything profoundly different about the Nets. Ben Simmons still wasn't shooting, was barely an active part of the offense. You know, I've been told I have a friend in the organization, he's like, look, they're still learning the offense, whatever. This obviously destroys that because whoever's new comes in, changes things. So I'm not crazy surprised, but it's so much that the world is about timing. You guys know who Steve Martin is, right? Steve Martin actually was a really good comedian. He's known more for movies like Parenthood. And was he in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Wasn't he Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
That was Rick Moranis.
Yeah, but he was in it. Wasn't he in it too, or no?
No, you're thinking about the that musical he did with Rick Moranis, with all the monsters.
Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors. Okay, that's better. But he had this comedic bit where he would say, comedy is all about timing, right? And life is all about timing. Hiring Ime Udoka, who led the Celtics to an NBA Finals, who turned around their season, who was the strong arm that those young guys needed to make them play defense and share the basketball. On paper, that makes total sense. The timing of it is a disastrous joke. Like, he's suspended by the Celtics. And the Celtics like, you can have him. Think about that for a second. You can have him. Wow. The timing of it is bizarre. Then you watch the team, and I thought the worst part of last night was that Kyrie Irving, who's at the center of this controversy regarding a tweet and then the follow-ups about it, and yes, he took the tweet down, but he never apologized. He won't really get into why he tweeted it, whatever. But Kyrie Irving, clearly part of why Steve Nash lost his job. Obviously, the centerpiece for this, I guess it's controversial tweet. I don't think it's controversial. Maybe it is. Maybe there are people that are like, hey, he should be allowed to tweet what he wants, and if he wants to tweet anti-Semitic things or whatever, I don't know. Like, I guess you freedom of speech, not freedom of ramification, but it's not really controversial because the Holocaust happened, people died, anti-Semitic behavior and fiction purported as nonfiction in a movie, from a age-old, time-tested playbook of blame the Jews, it just is tired on all of us. So I don't think it's really controversial. I just think it's awful. Anyway, he was non-existent. Think about that for a second. Like, if you're the centerpiece for a controversy, and then your coach or your boss gets fired, and the next big show, like, you kind of no-show on it? Here's Charles Barkley, and this is an interesting part. I want to kind of get to a discussion with you, Ramos, and Jay Stu. It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio in a second. Here's Barkley talking about the NBA and the miss in not suspending him.
I think the NBA dropped the ball. I think he should have been suspended. I think Adam should have suspended him. First of all, Adam's Jewish. You can't take my $40 million and insult my religion. If you're going to insult me, you have the right, but I have the right to say, no, you're not going to take my $40 million and insult my religion. I think the NBA, they made a mistake.
So I do think there's a reality to the fact that, half the league's owners are Jewish, the commissioner's Jewish, and there's a very small percentage of people, less than 3% of the United States population is Jewish, where you're trying to figure out, like, I don't want to overreact to this because it feels directed at me. It's personal. If I'm going to lead a league, I got to not take things personal, and I just got to be pragmatic. That said, Byron, let me ask you, okay? If Adam Silver came down extra heavy-handed, would there be a backlash because he's Jewish?
I don't think so. I mean, towards Adam Silver, or that Kyrie's only getting suspended because Adam Silver's Jewish. Mm-hmm. If there was, I think that there would be a small amount. I wouldn't look at it.
What do you think proper punishment is?
Gosh, I honestly, Doug, I haven't even given an ounce of thought. So anything that I have is literally just off the.
Okay, how about this? Do you think the NBA's done enough?
No, because they haven't really done anything. So I would say no.
I think, this is me, I do think there's a certain genius in the, if we don't do anything and he just gets, he's already lost the Nike deal, he loses other deals, and there's a certain, like, do we need to punish him? The world is going to punish him substantially enough. But considering, and this is why personal conduct policy, once you go in on suspending guys for a gay slur, why wouldn't you go and suspend guys for this?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
I totally understand. You feel like, hey, once we get into people's Twitter accounts, we're going into Pandora's box. But the box has already been opened. Really has. All right, Jay Stu, do you think there'd be a pushback on Silver if he suspended him because Silver's Jewish?
No. I think if he gets pushback, then those people are as moronic as Kyrie is. I mean, if the one thing that the league office has done is set out a statement saying that they will not put up with any hate messaging of any kind.
Except they have.
except they have. It's been 5 days and they haven't done a thing.
Nothing.
If you ask me what the punishment should be, is I'm going to suspend you indefinitely until you've done one or all of these things: apologize with contrition, say that you were wrong, or take formal training. Formal tolerance training. And once you have fulfilled as much as we think you have, then we'll let you play again.
I think it's... Gerald McCoy was on with Craig Carton on his TV show this morning, and he said, he'd been to Israel. He went to, it's called Yad Vashem. It's the Holocaust Museum. And you go there and you're forever changed. Forever. I mean, no human being keeps it together. No human being keeps it together. And the Holocaust Museum in D.C. is similar. I mean, obviously, go there, figure it out, understand that it's nonsense, that you're either tweeting for people's information or dissemination or whatever, or it's your own beliefs. But denying the Holocaust is, it's terrible. It's terrible. But I also thought that, like, bro, all this controversy, a lot of it revolves around you, and Kyrie didn't look like he cared. Didn't look like he cared. Here's Kevin Durant having a bizarre exchange with a reporter.
When did you find out about Steve? How were you informed?
About 1:15, I woke up from my nap and turned to the right and seen it on ESPN.
And what were your, initial reaction? Everybody knows what went on this summer, but what was your first thought when you saw that?
Shocked. You're always shocked when a move like this happens, but it's normal in the NBA. So it's about getting ready for the game tonight. So it's a quick turnaround always in the league, especially during the season. You got practice games coming up, so you can't think too much about it, but it was on my mind for a little bit today.
Yeah, I was on mine for like a little bit. Like I woke up and like, damn, who am I not going to listen to today? Oh, Jock Vaughn instead of Steve Nash. Cool. Weird. Do I think it's possible that Sean Marks, he felt like, I know how KD views him, and I'm sure KD will, the one thing to remedy it is if you talk to him and said, hey, what do you think? And he said, Ime Udoka, then it doesn't matter. But Kevin told you all you need to know there, where he didn't say he called Steve. He didn't say he texted Steve. And he said he was shocked, but he didn't sound particularly shocked. And he said he spent some time thinking about it, which could have been 15 seconds. Here's Sean Marks as to why Steve Nash was let go.
He's aware of, hey, they're not responding to me right now, or that was not the performance I needed to see out there, and so forth. So we were open with our dialogue, and so over the course of the last week, 10 days, we've just been talking, and I think it came to a head.
I actually believe that. I believe that because that was what I saw when I watched the Nets. It's one thing to not have the right personnel. They don't, they don't. They don't have a starting quality center. They don't have positional versatility with the size of their players opposite Kyrie and Kevin Durant. They don't have a good enough bench. Personnel's not good enough, but there's clearly something missing. And I'm sure Nash probably went to him and like, look, I've never had a training camp with all three of my stars. Now I get all three. Let's see how it works. And it wasn't working. So I'm not as down on the firing of Steve Nash as maybe I would have been yesterday when I stop and take a breath and go like, Do I think the team ultimately is not going to be good enough? Of course. But I also think it's reasonable to say, like, all right, you had him for a month in training camp, and that's what you had. Like, not good enough. Okay. Hiring Ime Udoka, who's still suspended by the Celtics. Kevin Durant saying, I paid a little attention to it. Kyrie Irving, no showing last night, even though he was there in physical form only. I mean, you still have the Ben Simmons problem. What a mess.